Trading Nut, episode 125.
Just never quit. Never quit on yourself. If you're really in love with trading, pursue it with all of your heart. And I promise you, it will eventually click, because you know what? You're one trade away from changing your whole life. One trade away.
The market's going to do something. Your job is not to fight it.
The market never, ever runs away. It's always there.
That personal diary of trading will make you a much better trader than...
I could be right about the direction, but wrong about the trade.
Don't focus on the monetary side.
Trying to make too much money on a trade is what I have seen killed every trader.
Your losses offer you some of the greatest insight you can find into your mistakes.
Relax, learn the process.
Candlestick pattern trading is a freaking trap.
Don't be in a rush to become a millionaire.
Let the market tell you what the market wants to tell you.
This podcast is not financial, trading, or investing advice of any kind. What's up, traders? Welcome to another installment of the Trading Nut podcast. I'm your host, Cam Hawkins, and today we have Clint Festx on the show. Goes by the name of Mr. Festx over there on Instagram, and he's from Cape Town in South Africa. Now, you guys have been hitting me up saying, I've got to get this guy on, so I've finally got him on for you. Hope you're going to love the interview. I loved it because he's one of the most aggressive traders that I've had on the show. So you're going to find out why he's so aggressive and how he does his trading in the next wee while, as well as why he loves things that fly, like US 30 flies, other markets that just really sort of, when they run, and he loves it. I couldn't work out why he loved it, and he's not the first person as well. So we find that out on the show, and we did shoot a video afterwards on YouTube where you're going to go and where you can go in and see how he trades on the US 30 from a price action point of view. So that's coming up as well. And we've got Trader versus Trader semi-final and final coming up. So whilst you're over there on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss any of that action coming up here live on Trading Nut. I'm thinking also of bringing back my scalper versus scalper seasons. So I'm going to do possibly another season. I'm not confirmed on that yet, but there's a chance that I'll do another season of Scalper versus Scalper. And last but not least, before we get into the show, if you're looking to semi-automate or fully automate your trading, then my Robot Builders Club is still open for new members. There's a free course that you can take on the Trading Nut website. So if you want to head over there, click on the robots at the top of the top of the links, and you can take the free course I've got there that will give you a foot in the door and help you understand what it's going to take to automate some or all of your trading. All right, guys, so I'm still taking members on board, but don't wait because it's not going to be forever. All right, so guys, there's the Robot Builders Club that you can jump on board. There's links probably in the description or below the video for that. And there are some other amazing crypto videos on the Trading Nut channel now, as well as a whole bunch of other analysis videos that you've got to go and check out after this one. All right, enough from me. Let's get on with the interview today with Clint. Let's do it. Whether you're a struggling trader or a profitable trader, our sponsor, City Traders Imperium, are offering you the chance to become a fully backed Forex trader. That's right, get coached and funded with CTI today. All right, folks, here we are on Trading Up. We've got Clint Festx, aka Mr. Festx, here on the show, all the way from Cape Town in South Africa. How are you there, Clint? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, very, very good. So we're different time zones here, so it's morning for you, evening for me. Today we're going to find out all about your trading, your journey today, and and a little bit more about the technical stuff. Then we're going to jump on and have a look at some of the stuff you do on a price chart as well. So, Clint, to start off with, how did you get into trading? How did it all start?
Well, it all started back in 2016. It was January 2016, and I saw a friend on his mobile phone, and I made a joke with him. It looked like he was playing a game. I asked him if he was playing Tetris, in all honesty, and he was like, nah, I'm trading the Forex market, and I was like, tell me a bit more. And then he basically led me straight to a website called Baby Pips, and on that website, you can learn the basics of trading. And he refused to show me anything else, but just tell me, look, go there, go teach yourself how to do this thing and, dive into it. And I did that, and I lost a lot of money trying to trade with just the basics. There was no technique. All I knew was the basic bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing, the basic candlestick patterns that you learn on a site like that. And then, eventually I got hooked. I was like, I'm done with network marketing. I need to pursue this. because the main reason or why I fell in love with Forex was the fact that not that I don't like network marketing, it's a cool concept, but with Forex, you don't need to recruit other people. So you do it on your own. No one needs to know what you're earning. No one needs to know what kind of money you're making. And that's what I fell in love with, in all honesty, Cam.
Awesome. And so let's go all the way back to, like, you know, taking baby pips, jumping into, I suppose, what did you do? Did you even have a strategy, or how did you start?
I don't know if you heard of the strategy. What is it? The RSI indicators is called divergence.
Yeah.
That for me was like, when I discovered divergence, in my opinion, it was like the holy grail. It was like, this is it. I'm about to become a millionaire. All I needed to look at is the RSI chart, look at the candlestick chart, trade divergence, and I'm good and I'm set to go. That was unfortunately not the case at all.
Well,
so I had to look a bit further.
Okay, so what happened with the divergence? Because I mean, I know a lot of traders that have started off with divergence, done really well at points, and then struggled. I mean, where was it that things fell apart for you?
My greed, the psychology behind it all. You know, it's easy to learn the technical side and find a certain way to get into the market. But at the end of the day, it's all up here, you know. That's what keeps you in the trade, and that's what controls your greed. So when it worked once, twice, unfortunately, the times when you use the biggest lot size and go all in, it just doesn't go your way. And then you try and make up those losses by going in bigger and bigger. So I learned a lot about myself. You know, there's so much to trading in terms of what happens up here and not all on the charts. And that's what I say would gives you that finer edge, you know?
Awesome. So after RSI and divergence, I mean, where did things sort of steer from there?
So then I obviously looked on Instagram. I used the hashtag Forex, hashtag Forex market, hashtag USDJPY. You know, I was using all sorts of hashtags to come across anyone that was doing it, because no one around me, none of my peers, no one was doing Forex. And then, you know, I discovered Q Banks, you know, shout out to Clint. I saw him and I was like, okay, this guy kind of looks like he knows what he's doing. He's driving my dream car, so I'm going to follow him. And I know he does Forex, but let me see what he's about. And I think I followed him for not even 2 weeks. And then I clicked on his course link and I signed up to his course. And ever since taking his course and learning, you know, the Fibonacci, I kind of had a general understanding with regards to Fibonacci. But, you know, just the way that he explained it in his course was the game changer for me, honestly.
And so I mean, it was the game changer in terms of, like, it was the missing piece that you added, or was it literally the thing that did it?
Fibonacci was the missing piece for me. Fibonacci was the missing piece. And he spoke a lot about psychology. He spoke about fear. He spoke about greed. You know, all the things that I was battling with actually before I started his course, he covered in his course. So the psychology was a major factor. You know, the Fibonacci, it's awesome. It really is, gives you that finer edge. But the psychology things that I learned from him, and, you know, sitting and actually watching him on a video format and watching me explain the different emotions you go through as a trader, that was a big change for me, because they don't teach you that on baby pips, or you don't learn that from just anyone. So I was grateful that is something that he implemented in his course.
Just jumping in here, folks, with a quick message from my sponsor, Sage Strategies. Now, you might already know the boundaries of trading are expanding faster than ever, but you may not know that there's still time to take advantage of these opportunities. With my sponsor, Sage Strategies, you can instantly access institutional-grade algorithms that have been robustly tested by their team of experts. Their strategies provide fully automated responses to market opportunities in real time, which allow you to trade beyond human limitations. Go and check them out at sagestrategies.io or click the link in the description. And so, I mean, I had Q on the not so long ago, and look, I mean, I don't think I got in too deep on the psychology stuff. But I mean, if you had to give us a view of, like, you know, how was it that what he shared in the course, how did it manage to help you? Because, you know, psychology can be quite hard for a lot of people to try and understand, you know, understanding themselves, knowing themselves, and knowing or identifying when they're feeling certain ways and that's affecting what they do. How did what he shared, how was that able to sort of quickly impact you?
You see, he spoke about things like fear, and fear is something that you immediately have when you start trading Forex, because you have the fear. The first fear is losing your money, obviously. The second fear is being wrong. So you would analyze a certain chart, you'd look at a certain trade, and you'd go into the trade, and then you'd kind of like, I'm going to buy, but I'm not going to take this trade, because you're kind of scared of going into it. So I overcame a lot of fear. I understood that if I analyze and I look at, let's call it 21 setups for the month, and I take every single one of them, if 6 are wrong, I'm still up in profit. All I understood was that I had to take every single setup that looked and checked all my boxes, not just go into any random trade. But if I, for example, looked at Euro USD and I have a checklist of things that I look at, I would go and take the trade. But before Q's course, I would kind of pick and choose the trades that I want to take, like I wasn't taking everything.
Yeah.
And then the greed factor was a big thing for me as well, because I was using like 0.25 lots on $100, $200 accounts. Like I was greedy and I was kind of scared. It's like a bad combo. You greedy to make money, but you're scared to take all your analysis. So you kind of clash there, So that was a big, it unlocked a lot for me, not fearing your setups and just controlling your greed, using proper risk to reward ratio. That paved the way for me to be consistent in trading.
And was there anything you did specifically after learning all that stuff and hearing Q go on about it that fundamentally sort of created it as a habit or something that you just did versus, I suppose, like, people can hear stuff, but unless they implement, it's not going to make a blind bit of difference, right?
Yeah, now you have to implement it. So I was basically looking at the setup. So I would say, okay, this setup is a 1 to 5 risk to reward. I would then look at the balance. So balance of my account is $500. My stop loss is 30 pips and my reward is 160 pips. And there's a little bit of math that I can dive into later if you'd like. And I would do that every single time to work out my 5% risk on my account. Before that, it was like, okay, I'm going to use this lot size today. It was never a strategy. It was never planned. It was like, okay, I'm going to use whatever number I feel like. Today's the 9th of June. Let me use a 0.09. I never knew what lot size to use per trade until I kind of saw, what he was teaching and I implemented that. So that was a big step for me, because now if I took 10 trades at 5% risk, I would only then lose 50% of my account. Before, I would take one trade and lose 60% of my account in one trade. So that was a big step for me.
It does make a big difference. I actually created a tool. I built a little tool for MetaTrader, which I'm using now, which helps immensely, because all I do is I click a button. It puts 2 horizontal lines on the chart, one for stop loss, one for entry, and the take profit's already preset, and then the risk is already preset. And so I just line them up and go, do I want to enter a market order or a limit order? And then I choose the order type, and then I hit buy or sell, and it just sets the trade up. And it's exactly whatever percentage, like 2% of the account every single time. And the take profits, I think, it might be 3 to 1. I can always amend the take profit if I want, but it keeps it so consistent for me now. And the good thing is, if I have a blow up day, I'm only going to lose X number of percent. I'm never now risking more than what I should risk, it's really helped.
It's important.
Yeah,
it does. It really. I'm glad you have a tool to work it out for you. It saves a lot, because it does take maybe 2 to 3 minutes of your time with a calculator working it out. But the fact that you just click a button, and you get everything laid out for you, it saves time. And as well, you using it so clearly, we know that is how you save your account or make your account last way longer than normal.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Now, so can I sort of guess that you took Q's course and then everything was hunky dory after that, or were there hurdles along the way?
When I did Q's course, I was, it was an online course. I couldn't afford to fly to the States to do the in-person. So he has like a Forex Facebook group where all his students are in. And I joined the group, but I never kind of wanted to get involved with a certain person's setup. Like you would see someone would post gold and maybe your analysis for gold that day was short and they long. And you now you judge yourself because you're like, okay, you click on that guy's name. When did he join the group? Oh, he's been here longer than me. He knows more. So the best for me was to pull myself out of the situation and be alone to kind of find myself. So I understand that the support is there. Like it's cool if you want to know what news event is there, chatting like that. And then I don't know if you know John Dollery.
No, I don't.
Never
I've
heard
not
of
heard of him. No.
Yeah, John Dollery. He was involved with a Astro FX, right?
Oh, right.
And he became a mentor to me. If I called him or if I wanted to get on a Zoom call, John was there in that way for me. So he was my mentor. Q taught me everything I needed to do via the online course. But John Dollery ended up being my mentor, the person that we would, there was times we would spend 2 hours on a Zoom session, just chopping up charts together. And, shout out to John, awesome guy. And that was my growth, my mentor. And still today, I always tell people, John Dollery was my mentor. We chat now on a personal basis, but it's been about, I would say, almost 2 years that we haven't really jumped on charts together because, once a trader finds his way and he knows what he's doing, you cut loose. It's like, okay, cool. Let him go. He's free now. Like a bird leaving a nest, he's done. So there was no need for us or mentorship. I didn't need mentorship anymore, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
But shout out to Q Banks and John. They paved the way for me in trading, which in turn led me to pave the way for so many others here in South Africa.
And so John, was he somebody you just struck up a friendship with through a group, or did you actually join Astro and go through some of their training as well?
Yeah, he came to South Africa. Astro came to South Africa, and I did their in-person course, which John was teaching, was a 3-day course. Sean and Nat were there as well, but John was like the teacher for that time. And we kind of linked up because he was new to South Africa. I showed them around. I told him what hotels to stay in. So we kind of got each other's numbers. And when they left the next week, we still stayed in contact. We were like texting each other on iMessage, added each other on Instagram. So we built a rapport in that way. And we kept it up. We kept the friendship since then.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great little connection to make. So into Astro. So, and what sort of things did John help you with in terms of the journey after Q?
John taught me market and institutional levels. Like he taught me levels that banks look at. Where banks where liquidity basically lies. The Fibonacci. They also did very similar to Q. It was almost the same. But institutional levels, he taught me monthly, weekly, high and lows. And when I combined what I learned with Wall Street Academy, right, combined with what I got from Astro and John just giving that extra bit of input, it was golden. Like setups were so easy to see. And still to this day, it's funny how what I learned back then still works. The same principles, those round numbers, they all still play off every single time, 90% of the time. So that just kind of polished and refined me as a trader to the next level of my journey, where it started getting fun, I would call it.
Right.
Trading bigger lots, bumping up lot sizes, 5 lots, 10 lots, because for a full year and a half, I was stuck on 0.12. It's my favorite lot size. Eventually, that lot size led to my students because they would see me always use it, and I would always be posting profits with that lot size. And the only reason I used it was because it was my birthday. My birthday is the 12th of December. And it became like a thing. Everyone used 0.12. To this day, there's still students that trade a 0.12 lot size.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe you should have called yourself Mr. 12 or 0.12.
Mr. 0.12.
Yeah. Now, so that's interesting. So, like, it sounds like, you know, your trading has just gone through the roof, right? I mean, was there a day when you sort of thought the stars have aligned and this is it, and you never look back? Or is it always a constant sort of journey where, you know, you said you're having fun now, but are there times when you're having less fun?
There was before, like you said, when the stars aligned and I saw the heavens, I actually had a major dip. Like, it was a gold trade. I'll look it up in the chart later. It was a gold. I was in the opposite direction, right? And I kept stacking. And this was like where I was starting to become, you know, this consistently profitable. And it was a big, big loss. I think that loss bruised my ego. It bruised my trading account, but more my ego. Because what happened was I refused to be wrong. I refused to accept that this trade was not going to turn around. And I ended up just basically almost blowing that account. And it was my last money that I kind of had. And I had an option. It was a give up moment right there and go look for a job, you know, or I could sell my beautifully parked Honda Ballard, which was standing outside my home. And I was like, I looked at my wife and I said, babes, do you want to give me one last shot at Forex, right? This is my last try. Like, I promise if this doesn't work, I'm done. But by this time, I've done Q-Bank's course. John has molded me. And I was confident. I was like, we can take an Uber. I don't care. You know, we can take an Uber. But I'm selling my car. And till today, I tell anyone, do not do that. Like, I don't ever advise anyone to sell their vehicle to put in a trading account. It was silly of me. But anyway, I did it. You know, I sold it. It was just shy of about $5,000 that I sold it for. And I put all that money in my trading account. And believe it or not, that account or that money that I started, there was a strategy that I formed from it. So I would have a high risk account, a medium risk, and a low risk. So what I did was I took the $5,000 account, and let's just say I made $2,000 for that month on the account. I would shift the $2,000 over into my medium risk, right? And then I would trade those two accounts and then make weekly profits. Then what I would do is I would use like 5% risk on this one, and then like 10%, and then my high risk was like 20%. So I kept feeding profits from the 5,000 account into the medium, into the low. And it was at this time, I think it was in 2018 when I discovered NASDAQ, right? And I was like, what is this? Is this how quick pips can move? Because trading Forex pairs like for 3 years, and discovering something like NASDAQ, it's almost like discovering, you know, a unicorn. And NASDAQ was seriously the pair that made me so much, I'd say so much pips. I caught so much pips that pair. I flipped that account over. I mean, it was over $200,000 in my 3 trading accounts at the time. And it started with a $5,000 account that I was working on for almost 9 months to get a nice big trading account size. And I never looked back. I never looked back from NASDAQ since. It's one of my favorite pairs. I do trade Forex pairs, but NASDAQ is my bread and butter.
Now, just on that, I mean, because I've sort of looked at it and some other markets which people have said, oh, yeah, these are really volatile and the market moves. I mean, is it not, and this is just my sort of personal question, is it not, you know, dependent on what your risk is on that market? Like, say, for example, you know, if you risk a huge amount and it runs a huge amount, is that not sort of just a 1 hour trade? Yeah, explain it to me, because I'm confused. It's like, yeah, it runs, but does it get to target quicker, or what does it mean? What am I missing here?
So I don't know. Like in South Africa right now, we are still fortunate as traders because I'm not sure in New Zealand how it works, Cam, but we have 1 to 1,000 leverage still available to us over here.
We've got one Forex broker available to us, I believe. There's literally is dead. It's dead over here.
What?
Yeah. It's
No, we have a few. We have a few that we use, and the fact that we have this high leverage, and we still have, there's still brokers out here that offers you a bonus, right? So if you're funding with $100, they'll give you another $100 tradable bonus, and I've seen crazy things with NASDAQ, and it all starts with this small room, right? NASDAQ works like this. You fund your account with basically what you're willing to lose. There's no such thing as a stop loss with NASDAQ, right? If you want to trade it the way it should be traded. So you would fund a $100 account, for example, and you go in with a 0.01, and you're either going to swing it or you're going to intraday trade it, but you can hold it if you're analyzing on a higher time frame, and those pairs can do some damage. Like, I have a story somewhere, if you scroll down on my Instagram, I funded a $50 account, which was like shy of 700 Rand in ZAR, and I held that trade from the 31st of October till December, and that trade went all the way from $50 to about $6,000, and it was just one single entry. I never stacked. It was a double bottom on the daily. I placed a 0.01, and I did it just to prove a point to a lot of people that assumed when you want to trade these indices, you need big capital.
Yeah.
And I was like tired of hearing everyone say that. And then I just took liberty. I funded my account, and it created quite a stir on social media when everyone saw it played out, because every week I would update that post. I would update it, and I would show them, this is what's happening. It's still going. It's still going. And I can kick myself today because that pair has never dropped, or it hasn't came down close to my entry in months. I would have been up probably over 500,000 Rand easily if I just held it out for another 4 months. So, yeah, it's possible to make very big profits with very small deposits if you just catch a single entry and you trade this indices. Like, if you respect the NASDAQ and US 30, it will really reward you in a big way.
Okay,
in a big way.
Yeah, I think that's answered my question. I get it now. I get how people are able to do it, and it's using that leverage and trading something that, you know, I suppose if it is going to fail, it's probably going to blow your account. I'm right,
yeah.
Or unless you pull a stop out at some point, you blow half. You know, you lose half of it. But the key is that it's more like a buy and a hold, or a sell and a hold kind of approach. Okay, that makes sense. That now makes sense. Okay, and so I can see why people love it.
The smallest lot possible.
Yeah,
and hold.
Yeah. So okay, let's dive into your trading now. I mean, what timeframes are you analyzing, and are you doing intraday and swing trading? I think you might have mentioned that before.
Yeah.
How does that look?
I never really go higher than the weekly. I like to stick to the daily time frame. From the daily, I would then break it down. I would look for, where are we? So the daily will always clearly tell you bullish or bearish. Like, if you follow higher highs and higher lows, the daily, it's easy to read. But when you step down to the 4 hour and the 1 hour and the 30-minute, a lot of traders do this, right? Because there's more candlesticks forming as they're dropping time frames. Immediately, it's like they get amnesia and they forget that they are bullish. Now they're on the 50-minute, they're like, but I see a good sell. And it happens to so many of them. They completely change their whole layout that they had for themselves, and they want to short a pair that they saw was long. So what I do is I mark up and I make annotations on my chart. I would literally mark out levels and say bullish. And when I started doing this back in 2018, I would type out on TradingView bullish, and I would make it so big that no matter what time frame I was on, you would be able to see bullish. So as I'm going lower and lower into the time frames, I wouldn't mess up and think, okay, it's time to sell, because I know, okay, we're only looking for buys. So I base my structure off the daily time frame and work my way down to as low as the 15-minute.
Okay. All right. And how many trades a week?
I average about, because I run a trading room as well. So all my students, that when I take a trade, I send out the trade. So we average about 5 to 7 trades a week.
Right.
Some of it we'll hold. So NASDAQ will trade on the daily. So for example, if I see a setup this afternoon and NASDAQ opens up at 3:30 out time and I see a valuable setup, I would get in. Just on Friday, I saw a setup. It was at open and it was a buy. And we caught that buy and we banked a nice 1,000 pips on that move. So I call a setup as I see it. I don't really plan to, okay, I will send out 10 trades this week. There's some weeks that go by and I only take 3 trades because the market is not showing me any signs to get into a trade. So I stay out. So I would say an average of 5 trades a week.
Okay. And what are your risk to rewards on those trades?
Currently, what I would do is I would fund an account with, let's say, $1,000. And if I'm trading NASDAQ, I'm risking half of my account. So I would literally lose $500 on the NASDAQ trade. On my Forex pairs, I always put a stop loss, and I'm risking about 15 to 20% per trade.
15 to 20 to 20%.
Yeah, but I never go bigger than a $2,000 deposit, right?
Okay.
On my big account, which I trade with a broker, a trustworthy broker, there I'm risking 2%, 3%, but right. that's a long-term trading account. But the account that I actively trade with my students, like I would deposit fresh funds into the account, I screenshot it, I post it in my group, so they can see exactly, okay, cool, Clint's going in, he's got $1,000 account, he's going into a NASDAQ trade. Then I tell them, look, that's my risk. A lot of students or members in the group, their risk is maybe only $50. Now, with $50, they can still open up 1 or 2, actually almost 3 positions on NASDAQ with the leverage that the brokers offer, fortunately for us. And we'd all go to the trade together. I'll be like, okay, cool, guys, let's buy now, sell now. And that's how we trade. We trade when we see an opportunity near the New York Open. We'll trade the New York Open, but not every day. Not like Monday to Friday, I'm sitting out the 3:30 trade. It doesn't work like that for me. I need to see some sort of setup before I go into the trade.
Awesome. And so that $2,000 account where you're risking 15 to 20%, I mean, what would you end up like finishing that account?
I normally double that account. As soon as I double it, when it's double, I would do a withdrawal. So I would withdraw the initial deposit, and then I would kind of almost rest the whole account on a good setup again. So the reason I wait patiently for these setups to form is because I'm going in quite aggressively, especially with the NASDAQ trades, right? Now, Cam, understand that I don't trade my bigger Forex accounts like this. This is purely my NASDAQ style of trading. And if I double that account within the first hour of the open, I would withdraw, close my trades, withdraw my profits, and then I would redeposit and then wait for either the setup the next day or maybe later that afternoon I'll see another setup. And that's my style of trading NASDAQ. But the style that I have with Forex is the normal 2 to 3% risk. But it's a bigger account, and it's slow moving pairs. It's pairs like Euro GBP, AUD USD, what most of my students consider boring, because NASDAQ is like this. It's like the hottest thing in Cape Town right now. It's a frenzy.
Really?
Like every trader you meet, what do you trade?
I feel like I'm missing out.
Dude, no one trades literally anything else. It's either US30 or NASDAQ. And when Q Banks, I think it was, when is it? Maybe a year ago, he put on his Facebook that he's now trading US30. People latched onto that as well. Even me, myself, I was like, okay, let me go check out US30 because I've been trading NAS 100 and then US30 clicked with me as well. And I was like, okay, cool. I like this pair. And I started trading US30. So NASDAQ US30 is that's my two hottest pairs right now that I trade.
And so when you're trading Forex pairs, are you looking for a certain number of R to exit the trade, or how do you exit? How do you find your exits?
My exits, I use the Fibonacci. So I would use the Fibonacci to basically work out my extension target. So I'd have extension 1 or 2, but I'll dive into that a bit more when I'm on the charts. and that would be my exit points. And then my exit points for stop loss would be below my 78.6 on my Fibonacci. So I would work out my analysis like that. So I'd look for a higher high, higher low, for example. I'd draw out my fib, wait for candlestick confirmation or breakouts and lower time frames, use my long position tool, get that out, and then that signal, as I analyze it, I'll post that video into my trading room and be like, guys, this is what I see happening on Euro USD this week. And then that video goes into my group.
Awesome. And what about the instruments that you're analyzing? Which markets are you going over from a Forex point of view?
It's Euro USD, GBP AUD, Euro GBP, gold. What else is there? USD JPY, very little of that, and then GBP JPY as well. Those are my Forex pairs that I do.
And what about win percentage?
Win percentage? I don't know if I can share a screenshot. I'll be able to go into my trading room, but I could post if I could get in there and I could show you, because when we lose a trade, I'd say, okay, stop loss, win. But we always, every week, there's a net pip count, like a positive pip count. There's never a week that's gone by where we're in a minus count of pips. So we always it's never less than 500 pips for the week winning. So we're always winning trades. We're losing trades as we're taking them, but we're never in a negative. I'm never in a negative. So I'm always making sure that we're in a surplus amount of profits. So I don't know how to work at my win percentage. Maybe I would say a 80% win ratio, 75, 80%.
Yeah, so you feel like you don't lose that often, basically.
We do lose, but we don't lose that we go into a minus in our accounts.
Yeah.
So we would take, let's say we're trading 4 Forex pairs. We'd lose 2 of that. We'd win 2. And then we'd have 4 NASDAQ trades that we took that week, and we'd win 3 or win 2 and lose 1. But the amount of pips that NASDAQ gives you makes up for the 30 pip stop loss on Euro USD, for example, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So the stop loss on Euro USD will be 40, 50 pips. When NASDAQ moves, when the candle's this much, you're catching 400 pips. So it kind of always makes up for the Forex pairs that do eat stop loss.
Yeah.
Because the NASDAQ trades are so much more aggressive.
Awesome. Now, what do you think made you different back in the beginning from other guys out there that are struggling to make this work?
You know what it was, Cam? It's the fact that growing up, right, I've never had, like, I love my mom and my dad, but I've never had a golden spoon. I don't come from money. So I know what it's like to have nothing. So I was scared at first, and then I just realized, what do I have to lose? Like, it was a matter of, if this doesn't, like, what's the saying? I used to have the saying, if not this, then what, right? So if not this that I was doing, Forex, then what am I going to do to better my life? So what set me apart was just the fact that I didn't really care what people thought, because the minute I said I'm going to become a Forex trader, the amount of comments that I got from even family, they're like, no, that's gambling, don't do that. Are you crazy? You've got a family, you've got 2 kids, you can't become a gambler. I was like, it's not gambling, it's Forex. So a lot of negative opinions were thrown my way, and it was a matter of just, I'm either gonna, listen to them and pull out, or I'm gonna pursue and just go no matter what anyone says.
What's up with people? I mean, honestly, I think even my kids are like, think it's gambling, and I tell them what I do, and they're like, that's gambling, isn't it? I'm like, oh. How do I explain this to you? Anyway, sorry. I don't know why people think like that. That's your immediate thing, is like, it's gambling. But we all know better than that. Now, what about somebody who's working a day job? What things would you recommend they start doing to start growing an account? If you had to give them steps.
If steps for someone doing a day job, I would say use your Sunday nights to analyze charts and give up the movies, give up the Netflix time with your wife or with your girlfriend, and spend that Sunday night analyzing the week ahead's Forex pairs. And if you don't know what to analyze, you can Google what are the top 3 major currency pairs, and, you would analyze that. Once you find a momentum, or you analyze and you'll be like, okay, cool. On the daily, this is what Euro USD looks like it's going to do. So if you want to enter that trade on Monday with a proper risk management, you wouldn't really need to look at that trade for the whole week. You maybe pop in every 6 hours and just see if you a certain amount of pips up. Because I have this rule, once you're up 30, 40 pips in your trade, move your stop loss to break even, because if it comes back, you know what, you don't lose. You can always re-enter. So for someone that's got a daily job, I would say analyze on a Sunday, look for 3 to 5 pairs that you can possibly get a trade on, and swing trade. Don't try and scalp. Don't be a scalper when you have a day job. It's gonna take you away from your work, So trade, there's no rush. You have a salary. You don't need to speed up the process, because to be honest, I found that the most money made is swinging. Like, I'm slowly moving into that mindset where I want to be a swing trader now. I want to place a trade this month and I want to close it next month. I want to be that kind of trader. Day trading and trading intraday, it's a lot on your mental state. It's a lot that goes into day trading. It's not as easy as what everyone thinks it is.
Cool. All right. So that's interesting. Now, what about looking at a price chart and sort of breaking it down? You've talked about Fibonacci, you talked about divergence. Are there some other things you would recommend somebody goes away and studies to try and put together a system for themselves?
Besides the technicals?
No, including the technicals. So looking at a price chart, so additional things to Fibonacci and divergence, if you're going to add some things in, what would they be? Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I can teach everyone out there is, like, with the Forex chart, look left, right? But look left for months and years back, and go back to the past and look at how the chart moves. You'll be amazed that everything, it's like history repeats itself every single time with Forex. So if you want to develop a strategy, find out what moves this pair. Every pair moves differently. There's things that GJ does that Euro USD doesn't, right? There's certain patterns that GJ will form and it will do a certain reaction to it. So what I will advise, what I've done is I've spent so many hours analyzing charts. It's unreal. Like, I've seen, like, I can look at a pair now and be like, okay, I know what it's going to do next. And I can look at a different pair and be like, okay, this one, you have to look at it like that. So what you can develop is that when you backtest, that's what I like to call it. You need to backtest and see what kind of history that chart has, or what repetitive moves does it make. So besides Fibonacci, besides trend lines and all the fancy things, literally look at a level. And if you can take your horizontal line, just the horizontal line, and draw it on one place where you see the most resistance or the most support, look at what does that pair do every time it comes up to that level. What is it? Does it react? Does it like to break that level, retest, then move on? Or does it like to reject and fall? Every single pair will have a different type of, character. They all have their own characters. Every pair has their own character. They're their own self. So you need to look at each one differently. You can't analyze NASDAQ or trade NASDAQ and then take that way of trading and then try and trade Euro USD like that. That does not work. They move completely different.
Now, thinking about a trader's mindset, what techniques do you think you could impart on somebody? I mean, we talked about it at the start of the show. Is there anything you'd say, hey, look, go away and do this to try and help get yourself in the right mindset to be a better trader?
What I could advise them to do, go away. I would, if I could go back and speak to myself and give myself some tips, I'd be like, be more fearless for the market. And how you would do that, it's simple. Whenever you're taking money or you're trading with money that you cannot afford to lose, there's so much emotional attachment to that $100 bill that you just physically can't even find yourself pushing by yourself. So the very first step before even getting into a trade, the money that you put into the market should not be money. It should be like buying a pair of sneakers, right? So instead of buying a pair of sneakers, you're going to now put it in your trading account and get that right first, because your mindset is very important. But if you're putting your rent money into your trading account, there's no type of mindset or way that I could program you or teach you to be like, okay, cool, it's fine, go in, who needs to pay rent? Rent is for whatever. So the money that you put in your trading account needs to honestly come from a place of, I don't care if I lose it. I don't care if this goes to, whatever. But you need to make that first step, because I've seen a lot of traders go from 0 to 100 and accelerate when they're trading with money that they would normally go to the club with. Like, when people go to the club, it's all about how much bottles of champagne you can put on the table. It's about the latest shoes on your feet, the latest Gucci jacket. And it's just a way of shifting your money or your money that you have into trading and less away from the stuff that make you happy, the short-term happiness. When you buy a pair of sneakers, you put it on, that's it, you're happy. After that, it gets thrown into the cupboard. So it's very important, I can't stress it enough, that before you start dabbling in the Forex market, make sure it's of money that you cannot afford to lose.
And is there a way that you think somebody can determine that the money that they're investing in the market is money they can afford to lose? So, I think people may trick themselves into thinking, oh, this is money I've got no attachment to. It's money I can afford to lose. But the reality is they are attached to it, but they just don't want to own up to it. How do you get someone around that trap?
So, for example, okay, it's Thursday night, right? You're sitting with your friends and everyone's planning this big club event, right? You're going to the club, you're going out, you're going to go buy you the latest outfit, you're going to spend X amount, you're going VIP. Right there and then, you tell them, guys, you know what? I just looked at the way my bank account is set up, and I'm rather going to use that money to do this thing that I'm trying, and you guys go and have fun. It needs to be that for a fact you are going to spend this money on something reckless and stupid. You can't be like, oh, I was maybe going to do it. No, you are going to go to the club and spend 5,000 Rand with ease. And you tell them, you know what, I'm going to give up this night because I'm sure I can get this thing right and I can have many more nights with you guys, but I have an opportunity right now in front of me and I need to seize with everything I have. So it needs to be that that this is money you are going to literally use in the club, so that when it's in your trading account and you see it there, you're already smiling at it. You're like, I was actually going to use this to spend on people I don't know, to get into a level of not remembering the night. And now I'm going to use it this week. As soon as Monday opens, you're in front of your chart. And I'm saying that because that was me. I did that. I shifted my old habits into new habits, right? And that's where I started finding out that everyone does have money to trade. You just need to look a bit harder. Look at what you're spending.
I like that answer. So it's basically it needs to feel real to you. The money needs to feel real.
It needs to be real.
The sacrifice needs to feel real, and you know that money was going, and you know where exactly it was going, and then you deposit that money into your account. Brilliant. Okay, so as my wife would say, mansplaining back to you what you just said to the audience. So sorry, that's a home
like
joke. That's what I've done. I've just mansplained. Now, if there was one thing you'd recommend any retail trader spend the next month mastering, what would it be?
One thing is mastering, get into a habit, right? Besides looking at all the fancy instruments you can use on TradingView. Cam, you use TradingView, right? To analyze your charts or not. Form a habit. Get a habit of, okay, I'm going to spend 3 hours on the chart tonight. And forget about the money. Forget about all of that. Go back to looking at the chart. And instead of, it's as simple as giving up a Netflix run. Like, you can sometimes get lost in the charts because when you fall in love with candlesticks and what it has to offer, the money does follow. But you need to master that habit of, tonight, it's me, my PC, a cup of coffee, and 3 hours of studying 2 pairs. No money attached, not going into any trades. It's literally just that. And if you can get into the habit of that, slowly but surely you will find that making money off of analyzing will pay off, because now you're falling more in love with analyzing charts than the money, and it needs to come second. A lot of people get into Forex because they look at successful traders, and go, I want that. I want that car, I want that house, I want that watch, I want that. But they don't understand that it goes back to putting in the work. The money doesn't just come like that, So they need to fall in love with the charts, Cam. You need to spend time on the charts, fall in love with that, and get that going first. So
awesome.
Yeah,
brilliant. Now, look, some quick fire questions here to finish off the show. So, how long did it take you to go from newbie to consistently profitable?
Cam, that was 2016 to 2017 June. I would say 18 months. I feel bad saying that right now. 18 months to get consistently profitable, because I've seen students of mine do it so much quicker. And no pressure on anyone out there trying to master. Like, I took almost 2 years, and I'm sure there's traders out there that's still struggling. The only advice I can give is just don't give up. You just keep going. No matter what your friends around you are doing, or other peers, other traders, you do you at the end of the day.
What's your favorite entry setup?
On like a pair?
Just like you're sort of like, if you're looking at the chart, here's the setup. I love this one. This is my favorite.
I love something as simple as a breakout out of a consolidation zone. When I see that happening, I know it's game over. And if I go back to NASDAQ and you look at 12,800, and when it broke out of 12,800, it was gone. And that's how NASDAQ works. When it breaks out of a consolidation zone, that pair is only moving that direction. 99% of the time, it's going that way. So that kind of setups really excite me.
What strategies do you use to exit or manage trades?
I look at, as simple as this sounds, this is what I do, right? To exit trades. When I'm smiling at my MT4, then I know, okay, it's time to maybe, either close or take partial profits or move the stop loss like a couple of 100 pips above my entry. So I would manage my trades based on how I'm feeling in that moment, knowing, okay, Clint, the amount of profits that's on your screen right now is more than enough to sustain you for the next 3 weeks if you look at your bills and things you need to pay. And that for me is how I manage my trades. I've seen other ways where people, like, they'll be up so much in profits, but they're like, you know what, I'm going to buy a new car next week, so I'm going to hold this one out. And then that trade is like, comes right back to their entry, and they're like, no. So I manage mine based on how I'm feeling and looking. I'll be like, it's time to take partials. And if I take partials and move my stop loss above my entry, I can't complain, because I've taken money off the table and I cannot lose because my entry is protected. So then I'll let it run. But you need to take some profits off. And I manage it according to knowing what my expenses are every month and knowing what I need to take out of the market for myself.
Very, very different from some of the more mechanical type of traders that I've had on the show, which is this whole interview's been pretty unique. So I love it. Now, what's your recommended trading book or resource?
To be honest, Cam, I've never read a trading book in my life. I've been referred a lot. I've been sent a couple of PDFs, but I'm just not a reader. I'm not someone that can read. I love reading charts. That's about the only reading I do. I read charts, but I don't fancy really reading books.
Okay,
It's not my style.
Preferred broker and trading platform?
My preferred broker right now is XNES. I don't know if you heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Just because they're quite big and they've been around the longest. So there are so many reasons. I do trade with, there's like 5 brokers I trade with, but that's my main broker. Like, The bulk of my trading, of my really low risk, that's where it's done on XNET. So that's where I'm trading.
Hey, you ever wonder what broker I use? Well, I use Hanko Trade. It was a no-brainer because I was looking for a broker with good trading conditions and no restrictions on trading my strategies. But one of the main reasons was their raw ECN spread, which could challenge any other broker you're trading with. Learn more at hankotrade.com or click the link in the description. And then MetaTrader 4, 5, is that right?
I like MetaTrader 4.
Yeah.
I do use MetaTrader 5. I don't know if you heard about this pair yet, but it's also a pair that pays nicely. It's called VIX75 1S.
Oh, I have heard about that ages ago. Is that like a
Yeah,
volatility index? Yeah?
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like, when I first found out about it, that same weekend I posted a trade setup in my signals room, and that was like 3,000 pips that weekend. Because all that pair does is it sells. Like, it makes a high, like it will come up, make a low high, and then you get a huge sell-off. And it's only been available since, when was it? I think November 2020. And for that, I use a broker called Deriv, D-E-R-I-V, Deriv.com. That's the broker that offers that. So the only time I use MT5 is to trade VIX75 1S.
Yeah. I do remember hearing about those pairs probably about over maybe a year or maybe 2 years ago, where somebody had said, I've got this strategy. They may have even been from South Africa as well. I've got a funny feeling they were. And their strategy was all based on those markets. And I think there was like 5 or 6 of them. And I'm like, I've never even heard of these. And I don't think I could get data for them or anything like that. Anyway,
there's no data.
Yeah.
There's nothing on TradingView about them, nothing.
Yeah.
And the latest one now is VIX75 1S. So it's even a newer version from what you've heard about. And that's the newer one, VIX75 1S.
Cool. Hearing it first here, guys, on Trading Nut. Now, look, last question of the show. Could you leave our listeners with one piece of advice?
The best advice I can give you, and I know it sounds cliche, guys, but this is the advice I needed at my lowest, darkest moments in trading, was just to never quit. It was to stick it out, no matter how much it pained me, no matter how much it hurt me, no matter how much I felt like, my family was right. Just never quit. Never quit on yourself. If you're really in love with trading, pursue it with all of your heart, and I promise you, it will eventually click, because you know what? You're one trade away from changing your whole life. One trade away. And I've seen it happen in my circle of friends. I've seen it happen to so many people. It was one trade that it completely changed their life. And 3 years prior to that, or 2 years prior to that, it was just win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. And then that break eventually happens, and you don't want to quit before that break. So my one tip is don't quit, stick it out. Because when that one trade comes, it comes with thunder. I swear. I've seen it happen too many times to just kind of thumb suck that. It really does happen.
Great motivation there, guys, to keep at it if you've had a bad week or you're struggling. Great motivation. Right, look, before we wrap up, what's the best way for traders to get hold of you?
Well, on Instagram, it's at Mr_Festx, or just Festx. If you Google Festx, you'll come across my online course. I don't get to my DMs. Cam can tell you it's insanely full. So if you can go onto my website, you click the support tab and you email me, I will get back to you. That's the only way. The most effective way of getting a hold of me is via email. Awesome. Instagram DMs, unfortunately, doesn't work.
Cool. Well, look, a big thank you to Clint for sharing with us today. Everything we've discussed here, along with all the links, are in the show notes. To find them, simply search for Clint or Mr. Festx in the search box on tradingnut.com. Until next time, I wish all my listeners trading happiness and success. All right, folks, there we have an interview with Clint, done and dusted. Hope you enjoyed that. Now, do remember, YouTube is where it's at on Trading Nut, or the site. Go to tradingnut.com. You're going to find the Trader versus Trader semi-final and final coming up that you can watch live. Possibly going to do a Scalper versus Scalper Season 2. Stay tuned for that. And also do remember there's a whole bunch of other videos, including new crypto videos that are going out quite regularly over there on the Trading Nut channel. So please go and check those out. And last but not least, if you're interested in semi-automating or fully automating your trading, then please check out my Robot Builders Club free training over there on the tradingnut.com website. And if you like what you see, then hit me up by email and we'll see if we can get you in the Robot Builders Club full program. All right, guys, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.